Well, I think one of the main frustrations is just the time deadlines, the 45 days, the 180 days.
Well, Garrett, all my money's tied up in all this real estate or tied up in these other assets. And if I sell, I'm going to get hammered with this capital gains tax, 30 to 50%, Garrett, as you know, and depreciation recapture on this property I've owned for years and years and years. So how do you get your powder dry, Garrett, without getting hammered by the capital gains tax?
Well, I'm saying if you, maybe you keep that property if you can, and the money that it's generating, hopefully it is, we have all these eviction issues and all, but hopefully the money that you're generating from your real estate, you set it aside for some bargains that I believe are coming our way. So I would not be telling people to sell right now, but maybe that's a prudent thing to do. If there's a way you can get out and get your cash and have it ready for when prices decline. I do know several real estate investors that are doing exactly that.
Yeah, there is a way, and it's called the Deferred Sales Trust. And there's a Monday morning quarterback deal back in '06 that I think it's the most prolific Deferred Sales Trust client for timing purposes ever. And he said he sold his property in Minnesota, and his biggest thing was he couldn't make sense of the 1031, and he thought the prices were overpriced at the time, and so he wasn't going to trade, with a higher property in the short period of time. So for the first time, he used the Deferred Sales Trust, moved all of his equity into the trust, and then 5 years later, the property that he sold, Garrett, was foreclosed on by the bank. And guess what? Who the bank called? They called him and said, "Hey, you know that property you sold 5 years ago?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, would you be interested in buying it back?" And he says, "Well, it depends. What's the price?" And they said, "Well, 40% less than what you sold it for." And he says, "Okay, that sounds pretty good." So he actually bought his property back, all tax deferred through his Deferred Sales Trust 5 years later, not using the 1031 exchange. And Garrett, I heard that for the first time at Marcus and Millichap back in Northern California. And this was in about 2009 and 10. And I said, oh my gosh, this will change everything if you can do that. And this is why we started our company. So there is a way. And for listeners who are listening right now, if you're interested in learning more about that, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. But that being said, Garrett, what are some of the frustrations you've seen when it comes to the 1031 exchange that you or your clients have faced?
Well, I think one of the main frustrations is just the time deadlines, the 45 days, the 180 days. You have people who are scrambling. I've had clients that, the property that they really wanted fell through and they have to fall back to this other property they don't like. So that is a frustration. That would be the main one. The 1031 certainly has its place, but your story, Brett, about the guy from Minnesota, what a win that was for it.
Yeah, huge win. And actually, I had another client we just closed a $2.6 million sale in Tennessee, and he sold a business and did not want a 1031 into another business. He wanted to actually be in real estate. Now he deferred $600,000 of tax and is using that to build 80 units in Tennessee. And so that's pretty nice too, all tax deferred.